Oh, it's 3 acres according to the county. Oh, what prices?
Oh,
Oh, I see, I thought.
No, it went back, it went back about,
okay.
100 or 300 yard feet or something like that. Yeah, it was a rather sizable
Okay.
chunk.
Okay.
It might have been an acre. But it was enough that, it was still enough to say, hey, something's going on here.
Yeah.
And, hey, how are you?
Good.
So I'm going to stuff down closer for function. It's supposed to be at 7 o'clock.
That's right, he's just in town.
I'll wait. Oh, no.
Is he?
I see him patrolling right now. But it's not quite as good.
He's a good guy.
I think so.
I'm done with those. Okay. And then this one,
Oh, I see. You moved to
so do you have another paper to put by chance in this one?
I have a paper clip.
Not one of
Do
them.
you want it?
Yeah.
That was very.
Okay, this is left-handed.
Left-handed paper clip?
calendar.
Well, yeah.
I was gonna ask if you were.
Thank you.
It's like they got we could probably not make it well.
Yeah, no.
So they thought maybe earlier, maybe we could send it.
Ironically, it's the board together,
Might be a way back.
Peter and names.
Ooh, see?
What are the
It's all just the circle of life.
Yeah.
No, he's really more,
had
it's
a
more
good friend
just,
from
he's gonna ask about some people who doesn't need right now, but we might have to.
That's so odd though.
Wait, like for their first dance?
No, in the wedding side.
Oh, are they related?
I just got done saying this thing.
Or it's kind of a combination. Tommy has.
I mean, it was right during
You know,
the
what he wants.
Lions era, so it was a little odd, you just had to issue holding up a symbol.
Interesting. That's very
I
interesting.
think I did. He came in.
Did you want it that was all that money or was it?
Yeah, I think Johnny. Samuelson found out. Yeah, he just kills all this stuff.
Yeah.
I thought Johnny did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought he did. See, I'll look at that.
Okay. And I need a map too.
I got it.
Okay.
I even got it scanned.
Okay.
No problem, you just let me know.
You want an email?
Board, but you want to shoot.
You have an email.
Still might be, but it's,
You're not gonna get in trouble.
If I do, I'll call you.
Exactly.
there you go. Yes.
Yeah.
sorry.
And then somebody taking it. Well,
You guys wanna see the checks down there?
I don't.
yeah, yeah, right, right. Maybe if you do something like that, you can not say we-
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. First of all, let's approve the minutes. First is the October 9th. I was reviewing them today and I noticed there are a few corrections. And I basically, well, first of all, it had September 11 minutes were not mentioned in there. And then the September 27th minutes were listed incorrectly, you know, by who approved them, or motioned and approved them.
I'll just take a look at them again.
Yeah, and there was, I've got a copy of the things here, and then there was a couple other spots where the motion and second wasn't listed, and then there's one where the roll call vote wasn't listed. So, I got these here. I just made some notes with copies on it.
You just-
And those are, actually, there's some for each of them. Do we want to approve them with corrections, or do we want to wait?
Maybe we should wait and table it and then approve them once we see the
Okay.
final.
Very good. Okay, so we'll table the minutes for them too. And then the financials. Everybody have a chance to review them?
I move that we approve the financials.
Okay,
Second that.
okay. Any discussion on that?
I was just wondering, you know, like for example, sales and use and those type of things. Are these final numbers, have the amount that's been committed already been taken off of those final numbers?
Not off the, yes, off the cash balances they are, but off of the actual checking account amount.
Okay, so on here.
Wait a minute, what does it say? No, I'm sorry, that is the checking account balance. But
Okay.
on the sheets that sales and use tax has on their running balance, it has been taken out, so they have the amounts that are available for them to spend.
Okay.
Is there that much that's waiting to be paid out though on that? or-
Mhm.
Wow,
Yep.
because you've got to be talking, what, $700,000, right? And that needs to be paid out, because
No.
really, what do we have in
It's not
sales
that
and
much.
use? We don't have 250,000 in there, do we?
Oh, heavens, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not spoken for?
I guess I don't feel comfortable saying it off the top of my head, but I can certainly
Okay.
get the numbers and mail them out tomorrow.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, that would be good.
But no, there's more than
Sure.
that.
That's it.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second, correct? All right, any further discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, okay, and, yeah, Labor Department complaint of retaliations of members versus the city of Washburn. Okay, we're gonna hand that over to David here.
Yeah, thanks for putting me on the top of the agenda list. I have a family deal going on later tonight, but just everybody knows, I think now that was received a letter, a packet from the North Dakota Department of Labor and Human Rights regarding a complaint filed by Joan against the city. And just to kind of, what she says is she's requesting help from the Department of Labor for an immediate injunction and or restraining order against Commissioner Larry Thomas, and also request to be repaid for all attorney's fees accrued to the date for legal representation at commission meetings. And then she has her letter, or with her narrative of the events. One of the things in the packet from the Department of Labor's initial respondent questionnaire. There's 4 questions, the name and, name, address, and telephone number of the entity, who would be the contact person for the respondent, which is the city. And indicate whether you wish to participate in the voluntary compliance process, which may include informal advice, negotiation, or conciliation of the complaint, or if you wish to propose a resolution of the allegations of the complaint, please provide a written proposal. I did speak with this person, Sarah, that is the signer of the letter, and what she told me was that really the only thing that Department of Labor can do, it would only be involved if the city wanted to go into voluntary compliance, and they kind of act as a mediator, but they don't have the authority to issue orders, which would be what a restraining order would have to come from the court, and they can't also order payment of money or anything like that. And basically, she also said too that if the city doesn't wish to voluntarily comply, then her recourse would be, or further recourse would have to be in district court. And so, looking at what her requests were and things, I don't think voluntary compliance to get a restraining order would help, or would actually be a result of this. And I know that other commissioners, I think I spoke to that Sarah also, so.
Yeah, I called that Sarah at the North Dakota Department of Labor, and she told me the same things there. And and so we can actually discuss. I move that that we do not participate in the compliant process. It's not binding anyway, anything like that, and so that's my motion.
Okay, do you have a motion, do you have a second? Do you have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Okay. Discussion?
So then just a quick question. So then on the front cover page of that letter from the Department of Labor, please respond to the complaint within 20 days. That's not binding then? Is that the?
Well,
is that
it's
understanding?
the complaint is to respond to this, those 4 questions.
But we're not bound, gotcha.
And then, Dave, would you be the one that did respond to it, no matter how we voted?
Yeah, I could do that, sure.
And what's your, I think you've already said it, but what's your advice?
Well, I mean, in all due respects to Joan, in what this says or whatever, she's asking for things that I don't think the Department of Labor, that we can comply to, because she wants a restraining order which has to come from the court. And this is not a court.
Right.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay. So we have a motion to not comply with this, and a second, so Keith,
Aye.
Reese,
Aye.
Noel,
Aye.
yes. Okay, thank you, David. You
Okay.
could draft a response to.
If you have any questions or anything about this, let me know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Consideration.
Thanks for coming. Purchase of sander for a new truck. Anybody know anything about that? Or you guys? Turk?
That's Dirk?
I never put it on there, but
Oh.
that's, I talked to Larry about it earlier.
Yeah.
they say the best time to order that sander is in the spring, because the company that makes it is down in Iowa. I don't know if it's Des Moines or where, but anyway, that's where Fargo gets them out of. And they only come up here during a certain time of the year to manufacture, then they go back to Wisconsin or Michigan. So anyway, they build them then, they're cheaper, and by fall, then they'll get them out to you, and then the shipping is, you know, cut in half from where you, as opposed to shipping from Michigan or whatever.
But wouldn't it be worthwhile to pay that extra so we have?
Well, we still have the other, we still have the
Is
other.
that hooked up to the new truck, or is that?
No, not to the new truck, to
Okay.
the old truck,
Okay.
but this
And you're
way-
fine with the old truck until that time?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Brian and I had discussed this a little bit, and, you know, after we found out this information, you know, we decided to keep that blue truck and then have the spare sander on it for one more winter.
Okay.
We can, you know, get by with that until, you know, make sure we get a good deal and get the right piece of equipment for what we
And
want.
I know the sander's been approved in the budget,
Right.
so
Yeah.
whenever we think we need to order it, and I suppose we could order it anytime
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
He said it's best to order in the spring though.
but do you want us, should we still approve the purchase of the new truck so it's in the record, or new sander so it's in the record, or do you?
Well, we sure can.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Well, we're gonna need one.
Yeah, it's already approved.
Right.
It still have to come back to city commission before we purchase it though.
Even if we approve it?
Everything else does. I mean, because when are you planning to purchase it?
In the spring.
Next year.
Well, if the prices change quite a bit before then.
Yeah.
And we don't normally, you know,
Well, just keep us informed then, Brian,
Okay.
and, you know, at least a month before we need to order it, and then, you know, we'll get a fresh price and
Okay.
go from there. Okay, that works, huh? Okay. Okay, water treatment plant?
Okay, the next one is mine, I guess. I talked to Adam, there's a few things that he needs down at the water treatment plant, and we'll just go one at a time.
Okay,
He needs a spare pump for replacement at the water plant for the blow-down pit. The cost of the replacement spare would be $3,000. It's a smaller than the sewage lift station pump, so that's why it's cheaper. So he just needs to know if he can order it. He needs to have a pump on hand.
well, I would think so.
Brian, what were you saying about that today, when you were asking about the pump that he needed?
That it can be used downstairs too, down in that other pit.
Oh,
It's the same size.
Okay.
same pump.
Same
Oh,
pump,
cool.
same pump.
Okay.
And it happened when PKG was doing that, where a rag was stuck in there initially when they started the plant up. And they wrecked it right away. And fortunately, they had another one on hand. But those are usually, those are another 6-week out thing if you were to have to
Yeah.
replace it.
So,
Approximately.
I move that we purchase a spare pump for the water plant blow-down pit.
Okay. Okay, I will second that. Any further discussion on that?
Is there a price range that if it's over,
Yeah, what's the
because it
price?
says approximately 3,000, is there a range that you want it to be in, or?
Well, I would say if it's over $500, more than that, it should come back.
Yeah.
You know, because there might be some shipping on there. You know.
Yeah,
so-
we'll put $3,500 on there for the,
Okay. Okay, Keith,
aye.
please?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, monitors for water plant?
Okay, he also would like to have 2 computer monitors for the water treatment plant. Right now, he's using his own personal monitors. And those would be used for, well, part of it would be for the plant, but another one would be for the security cameras that he's gonna put in. He already has the cameras.
Okay. You have a cost figure on those?
Well, he said that would be about $500 at most. I mean, it's probably gonna be a couple $100.
Should we have him get prices on that? Or what do you think? It's up to you.
Let's say that no more than $300.
Each?
No, total. $150 for
Yeah.
monitors, plenty, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I think we need a second.
So you did.
I'll
Okay,
second.
so 300 for both.
Yeah,
So he had been using a personal
yep, he had been.
for how long? Just for,
For a couple years.
I think it's been used the first one for a long time. So is that 300 before shipping, or can I imagine?
Yeah.
You can get them in we can get them
Yeah, you
from
could probably
Bismarck or the IT person that we use, Kevin Fishback. He gets them in bulk. He can get us good ones for good prices too. Sharon can do some research on them if you want. She orders a lot of all of our office things, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Adam can find it too, he's kind of a computer nut, so. Okay, Keith,
Aye.
please.
hey,
Well,
Aye.
yes. Colorimeter,
Okay, the one he's got right now is about 20 years old, and it's apparently not up to modern standards. Hawkins told him he needed to replace it, and the cost would be, again, approximately $500. So, I suppose not to spend over $550. So I move that we buy a new colorimeter.
colorimeter.
Not to exceed $550.
Okay, I'll second that. I do know that one is really old, and it is a very important piece of equipment for testing the water down there, so.
are there redundant meters for that, or is this just a single point of failure?
This is a handheld.
This is a bench model.
Yeah.
Right, it's a bench
Gotcha.
model.
Okay.
I was trying to think of, yeah, it's a bench model.
Oh, no.
Okay, Keith,
Aye.
please.
Hey,
Well,
Aye.
yes. Special Assessment Assistance Program, sales needs application.
This was from last month. We, to go back to the sales and use tax to continue on with the special assessment assistance program.
And that was for, what, $12,602 and some cents or something, wasn't it?
Correct.
And they did approve that. So, you know, the commission has to approve it also.
$12,602.48 from the community economic development portion of the sales and use tax.
Well, I'll make a motion to accept that, or accept the money for the Special Assessment Assistance Program from Sales and Use.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? And that's basically gonna give us $12,000 more, you know, for the next few years, hopefully, so. Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
hey,
Oh,
Aye.
yes. Renaissance Zone.
We have a Renaissance Zone application. The Renaissance Zone Authority met last week and approved an application from Tim and Mary Lou Johnson. They just purchased 2 lots up in Heritage Heights, and then you approved the conditional use permit last month. So this is then the next step for the Renaissance Zone that would allow them a tax exemption for 5 years. And that's an exemption off of the improvements to the land only. So it's just for their building, their home.
I'll move that we approve the request for the Renaissance Zone.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion?
Well, this has nothing to do with it. Do we ever relook at this and make sure that maybe we're looking at different areas of town for the Renaissance Zone at times? Because it seems like we picked the Renaissance Zone in an area
The
for
Renaissance-
years and years and years and years, and it's never changes.
And that's correct. The Renaissance Zone was with, I think there were 21 initial blocks. And then we can add some blocks onto it now, some additional blocks. It's just going through the process of adding those, and we have discussed those before.
Okay. Yeah, I was just
Discussed
wondering,
adding
you know,
to it
just
before
because
then.
even the new area of town is in the Renaissance zone, which Renaissance means to renew. Usually you don't have a new part of town being renewed.
Actually, you do, it's for new construction as well as
Yeah, I suppose it's-
rehabbing old. It's anything to get your vacant land onto the tax rolls.
Well, I
or-
suppose it's anything that the Renaissance zone committee decides, but it just seems a little strange, you know.
I thought of that originally when they first came out with
Yeah.
it too, you know, how can you just pick certain areas, but apparently that's the way it's been, so.
It was actually, it was through public hearings. It was the people that decided what areas they wanted. There was a number of public hearings and committees that got together and decided what different blocks they wanted to be involved in the,
Yeah, I'm just curious, just because there's older parts of town that, you know, seems kind of strange that.
they all had to be, it was kind of strange, because they all had to be connected.
Connected, yeah.
And so it was kind of tricky. You were only allowed one island or one jump to, and then those blocks had to always connect. You couldn't pick and choose different blocks, that all the blocks had to be connected.
You know, and it doesn't affect us because we've already remodeled our home, but it just seems kind of unfair to have one area of town constantly getting tax breaks
Right.
and the other area is not, you know. You know.
Unfortunately, that's the way it's written.
Yeah.
That's a state law, right, written that way?
No, I realize that,
Yeah.
but still, there's areas of town that are left out,
Mhm.
you know.
So is that the standard 5 years? What you've always gone with?
Oh, the application, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yep.
That's what I thought, so.
So just quick question for information, does that 5 start dated this application or when they
At the
expect to?
completion of the project.
Okay,
Yeah.
so their expected date of occupancy, it's a floater, it might actually be a month after this date.
It says date of occupancy, effective date of occupancy 9/30/2018.
Right, so if that slides, then you just adjust that date and start it from then?
It would start the next tax year after that.
Oh, gotcha,
Mhm.
okay. Just curious.
Okay, any other discussion? Keith,
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Employee drug testing,
The League of Cities, last year, you guys participated, or the city participated in the employee drug testing. It was through a company called Preble. And the League of Cities has now changed it to a different testing company. So we need to redo that for another year.
question, did we have anybody tested this year?
Just Kim and I.
Okay.
Mhm.
I was just curious because.
We passed.
Yeah, I hope so. I guess, you know, when we originally did this, I thought that, you know, you would take a certain percentage of your employees of your business or of your, say, it's not, it's a certain percentage of all the participants in a whole.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, we could go for 5 years without having anybody tested. Or we could go for 5 years being tested every year,
Yeah.
you know, so. Unless I'm reading this wrong, right? It's not,
No, they draw quarterly, and so, now this past quarter, no one from the city was chosen to go.
so I don't know if that's a good investment or not.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering, wouldn't we almost be better off just going just to a testing company ourselves?
Possibly. I think that's something would probably make more sense to look into than this.
So this consideration is for the 2018 cycle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And it is budgeted for.
Mhm.
This doesn't have to be until the middle of December if you guys want to think on it, or just, you know, so you know.
Well, I'll just make a motion that we approve the 2018 drug testing through League of Cities, just to get to the discussion phase.
Okay,
A second.
okay.
So just a quick question, you know, we're batting around the idea that we would do that potentially in-house or make those calls or externally.
Mhm.
What are the implications of that? You know, League of Cities would support this as it stands and they would do the random draws, and it seems like a legitimate
Mhm.
sponsored piece. What does that look like if we try to modify that and take care of that ourselves?
I don't like it to do it on our own. I think because we're so small, there's only 5 of us, you know, so to have me facilitating that, I don't quite know if that's,
I think we'd end up having
Right.
to have a company come in and
Right.
you
do the
would,
testing.
and it might
yeah.
end up costing you more in the long
Yeah.
run. I honestly don't know, maybe it
Yeah,
doesn't. but-
And maybe what we do is we approve this time with the idea that we'll look into it for the next time.
Sure,
You know,
that would make sense.
you know.
That would make sense. Any other discussion on that? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay.
Do you want to skip ahead and so some people can,
Oh, sure. Donna,
Okay,
sorry.
no, that's okay. We're doing a fundraiser at the hall, and it's Washburn Study Club, and it's going, the proceeds will go to the Resource Center. So we're just asking you to waive the fee. And it is January 10th. We need it from 9:30 to 2:30.
And we're clear with calendar on that.
be using the upstairs, downstairs, both?
Upstairs.
Okay. I move that we approve the study club using Memorial Hall building and waiving the fee.
A second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay. Anybody else
Thank
want to
you.
get out of here?
Thank you.
Thanks, Donna.
Water intake funding request, sales and use tax application.
This is from the sales and use tax meeting that we had last month, and it was for the 42,000, or excuse me, the 63,000 that the city is responsible for the preliminary engineering. And so the sales and use tax voted to take 42,000 from community development infrastructure and 21,000 from community development streets.
And then we need to approve that.
Yes.
I move that we approve the sales and use tax application for water intake funding.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
And that is for our, 35% from that initial or preliminary engineering. Okay, any discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Seal coat funding.
This is mine. Just with the sales and use tax, we just need to clean up some motions that we had in the past, and then the effect that it has on the sales and use tax. So in 2015, 309 in regards to the seal coat project. In 2015, 309,000 was voted and approved to be taken out of the surge funding for the 216 seal coat project. And then $100,000 was approved from the sales and use tax fund. Then we had the additional funding that was brought over from the sales and use tax just this past year. But the total bill for the seal coat was like around 180, some 190. So since that, we have enough in the surge funding to pay for that, then that would leave the funding in the sales and use tax since the city doesn't need it, but we would need to, and I talked to David about it a little bit this morning. I think we just need to clean up the the paper trail as to where the funds are going and what we're using it for and et cetera, if that makes sense.
I thought we had I thought we had decided, you know, when we did the seal coat, which, you know, where we're gonna take that money from.
You did, you decided $309,000 from surge funding and $100,000 from sales and use tax, because the engineer's estimate was originally $400,000.
But then the bid came in so much
The
more.
bid came in, but the motions were never redone. And then we still went, but we had already received the approval to take money from the sales and use tax for $100,000.
Okay. I thought we had discussed that, you know, which one we would take it from, but I could be wrong. Do you know when that was? When the bids came in on that, and we looked at it again, that would be this summer, I suppose, or was that last year? No.
I went through the motions, and the only motion, the official motion I found was in 2015 to take it from surge funding. So we would just need to re-motion on it, just to clean it up for the books, so that we have a good record of what's going on.
So just a re-motion to take the money from, let's say, surge money.
Instead of, and then the sales and use tax will, you know, that money will just stay with sales and use tax.
And then that could be used for other things.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, if we take that all out of the surge funding, then how much would be left in the surge funding, do you know?
I don't. There's about 300,000 in there. I know we talk about it every month.
Yeah, because quite honestly, I was, you know, hoping to use a lot of that surge money for the water intake, you know, because that would really help buy that down a bunch.
But then we could, the money that's being brought back, I suppose, for sales and use, could be used for that too. It just depends on where we want to take the funding from.
I think the money that you have available to use on projects is still the same. It's just
Where it comes from.
It's just where it comes from, and cleaning up, you know, the motions that we have currently voted on and that we've approved, so that, again, there's just that clear record of where the city commission has spent the money and what's going on with it. Because we can't take, so it was voted on and approved to take the money out of the surge funding, and so there's still extra money out there from sales and use tax. And so I think you need to make the motion that you will not be taking it from the sales and use tax, which just, you know, then we would reapply to sales and use tax for future funds if that's what you choose to do.
What was the different price that came in? Because this motion was made.
Yep, and then the bids came in at 102. So the engineer's estimate was at 400,000.
Came in that much
Yeah,
lower?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
So
then Larry's point of making, you know, the idea that we're not emptying the surge, it's really only 100 off of that 300, so you're actually 200 back into surge, 100 back to sales and use. It's a quarter of the
more,
price.
because we had taken an additional 83,000 for additional seal coating.
Right.
So, you know, there was a substantial amount coming in and coming from the sales and use tax also, but we had enough money from the surge funding to cover it. And so when I was, you know, looking at those individual payments and closing out the project accounts, that's when I realized that we had, you know, too much money on the surge fund side, too much money on the sales and use tax side, and
So, this has been paid for already, you just need to, this is just like a bookkeeping thing, right? I mean, it's already paid for.
well, and for the records, for
Yeah,
our.
but I'm saying, it's
Yeah.
a bookkeeping thing, so you know where everything is. And when you paid for this, what funds did you take it out of?
Project funds.
Project funds? So this would go back into project funds then, or?
They're both two separate checking accounts,
Mhm.
so.
Well, just for sake of discussion, I'll motion that we take 102,000, is it? That we need from surge funding to pay for the chip seal?
I believe the total bill is around 187 to 190,000,
Okay.
because we added on seal coating.
Okay, so the only thing is I'll need an exact number, because,
Can this wait till next month so we can?
yeah, why don't we do
look
that?
this over?
Yeah, just because I hate to kind of say,
Yeah, let's get exact figures and go
Yeah.
from there.
sounds good.
It does sound like we have the estimates versus
Yeah.
actuals, and we need the actuals.
It's just putting it in the right spots.
Yeah.
So, who made the motion?
I rescind my motion if
Okay.
I did.
Thank you. Okay, we'll table it. Okay. Tanner? Nope. Quest vacate alley. Take some garage.
That would be
and
me, so
gray.
I told them better come over here.
Well, it's up to you.
Okay. We've got the paperwork for all three neighbors, as you noticed. Here's the pictures of what it looks like. That's coming into my alley, and that is the end of the portion that no longer has an alley. So it goes through Perkaravich's yard, right behind this house, then right behind my house, and then right behind Sherry Gray's house. And it wouldn't affect anybody, we just want to vacate that alley, otherwise we're never able to build a garage or anything further back. I think my house was built in 1917, and the alley's never been used.
Yeah.
So there's no utility, nothing.
There's utilities, but we wouldn't be able to mess with those or anything like that.
There's an
They'll have an
easement through
easement,
there,
yeah,
I mean, the
yeah.
easement stays.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to build on top of that area.
Sure.
It just allows us to put those parcels together.
Did you see the pictures?
I'm very familiar with that, so, it's the alley to nowhere, basically. I don't have a problem with it.
So anyway, we're just asking to vacate the alley for all three of our properties. Then it would have to be in the paper for
4 weeks.
4 weeks.
I'll motion that we advertise or we go ahead with this to advertise for the 4 weeks, and then there'll be a public hearing, I believe.
I think Dave was saying that once it's advertised, that it automatically goes into effect, if you guys approve it.
Yeah, if it's approved, it can be.
Yeah. If you guys approve it now, this is what Dave told me, so. If you guys approve it, then what would happen, it goes in the paper, if nobody questions it, then it would automatically, you know. And if we do have to have another meeting, it's not a big deal, but I think in this meeting, that you guys would have to approve the vacating of the alley.
I think it's gonna end up kind of being the same by the time we do the
Probably.
4 weeks of advertising. It's gonna land pretty close to the next city
Yeah.
commission meeting, so we could just do a public hearing right before the city commission meeting.
Okay.
Right.
And then
Either
just
way.
move straight to then, I mean, it's gonna
Yeah.
be really, really close to
Yeah.
it, if that's okay.
Yeah,
I think that would make the most sense, because if somebody's gonna complain, then we're gonna have to have a forum for them
Yeah,
to complain
yeah.
too, so.
Are
I don't
we in
think they will.
are we in discussion yet?
I'll second. I believe Larry made the
Yes, I
motion.
did.
I'll second.
So on this type of thing, does it generally go to planning and zoning?
no.
Not an alley vacation, alley
Okay,
can come straight to city commission, or
Okay.
does.
gotcha.
Do you have discussion? Okay, Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Yes.
yes.
I'd like to back up to Tana. Tana was gonna come, but, on November 25th, they're doing Small Business Saturday here in town, and then 5 to 8 afterwards, after, I guess, 5 to 8. They'll be doing a craft show and food, a parade of lights down Main Street, just kick off for Christmas. She was requesting, Rhonda, that from the museum to Is it just the post office, do you know, to be blocked off for the parade? Or do you know if it was all the way to
Ambulance.
I thought it was
all the way down?
Yeah, she said
Mhm.
starting at the ambulance building.
Start at
So-
the ambulance and you end
So
at
the
the
post office.
Okay, so starting at the ambulance bay, they'd like it blocked off here, and then they will end at the museum where then they will have
Tree lighting?
the tree lighting and that sort of thing. So
What day is this?
November 25th, it's Small Business Saturday.
If you want a poster, I have a poster with me.
I move that we approve the closing of the streets from Ambulance Bay to Cafe Museum.
Okay. A second?
I'll second, but I think if we're gonna actually have it blocked, we can't actually block off like to the end of the ambulance, but it needs to be like
Yeah, I think
mean,
it's just right to.
pretty obvious, but
Here, yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's a good catch.
Any further discussion?
anything else, Mark?
Well, we probably wouldn't be able
Actually-
to block out the fire department.
I was just gonna say the same thing, actually, we probably shouldn't have it blocked off further than the city hall because of the fire department, so.
All right, so it'll probably be the other side of the intersection, maybe. Does that work? Sure. Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, merchant license, Schwan Sales.
Schwann Sales has again applied for an internet merchant license within the city of Washburn, and they paid the $200 requested fee for that.
Okay. I'll move we extend the merchant license for Schwan Sales.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes.
Can we go back to to November 25th?
Yes.
There's also been a request of live animals. Is that,
What do you mean?
do we
live?
need to have any type of formal approval to have live animals?
Are we
I
Just
didn't
for
know
a
about the
display?
live
Are we talking like a manger?
Absolutely. I can't have chickens.
It'll only be for like 2.5 hours.
Is this like a manger type of thing?
No, it's gonna be imposter reindeer.
Oh,
It's gonna be possibly like miniature horses and miniature donkeys.
okay, I motion that we approve the animals, because I'm not against Christmas.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second.
This is where Reese draws the line.
Discussion. Well, just so, discussion, where are these animals going to be?
Just a question.
Down by the museum.
museum.
And obviously somebody will be in charge of cleaning it up, I'm assuming.
And it'll be a sleigh type of thing, kind of?
I'm not sure.
They did have reindeer a number of years ago.
And I'm not sure if we're just if we're gonna put like little ears on them or like antlers, I mean, or
The
I don't know.
antlers and the red nose on them and.
We don't want the children to read in the paper that the commission outlawed reindeer in town.
I'm working on it, I have the headline ready, so just go ahead.
So is it a individual bringing them in, controlled?
No, no.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll do the pictures with the reindeer and all that.
Oh,
Good. Any other discussion? Keith?
aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Is that it on
Yeah,
November
I think
25th?
so.
Steps for stage.
I just added this on here, I haven't had time to talk to Reese about it, but, last Memorial Day, the American Legion had asked if we could get some steps new steps going up to the stage, the wooden ones, are a little dangerous, I don't know if they're dangerous, but a little unsure, or for some older people, they'd like one with a railing. And they were paying half, is that correct?
I believe so, but not positive.
They were willing to pay a portion of it, I believe it was half.
This is something that's definitely needed, just because those are dangerous. You know, and I thought about, can't we just make some wooden steps, but then if you do that, they weigh 10,000 pounds.
And that's just
you know.
it, yeah, they're very heavy.
So,
I guess I would like to know what, they, how, what their portion, what they want to pay and stuff.
Yeah, well, we can double check with them. It was a different commander that had requested it, because the one commander requested and then we have a new one, so.
I mean, $1,800 for some steps sounds like a lot of money to me, but maybe I'm wrong, but that seems like a lot for steps that go up 30 inches, you know?
Yeah, it had been discussed previously, but we just didn't follow up on it, so.
I will say this, is I think that, and I'm just gonna do this just for the sake of safety in the future, and then we can put it back on them. But I'm gonna make a motion that we pay half of the steps, just so if they decide to pay the other half, they can order them as soon as possible. So if we do have an event there, you know, we won't have anybody get hurt or anything. And then if they're not willing to pay half, then we'll have to revisit it.
Okay.
But anyway, that's my motion, and we can do whatever we want with it, but.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
Do we wanna put a price or just leave it open-ended like that?
Well, we have this, I think the one right here,
I have some questions on it too.
Yeah.
You know, which one? You know, which ones? And one of them's $1,300, the other one's $1,700. You know, and is something that can store away? I mean, I don't know. You know, how far does it stick out?
I'll amend my motion, you know, with no more than $800 as far as half. So then that way the American Legion can kind of pick out which one that they want. And that should cover anyone that's available.
Okay. Do you have a second?
And I think it was the, they ended up having that Max auction sale over there, where people were going up and down. And boy, that was nip and tuck there, with some people almost going down.
I know Memorial Day, there were a
Yeah,
couple
there
that
you
were
go,
very
yeah.
concerned about.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. So we're gonna let the Legion decide which ones they want then, or is that what you're saying, or?
That's what I was thinking, you know,
Okay.
since,
All right. Fine. Any other discussion? Keith?
I,
Reese?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. I mean, I just don't know, I mean, this is in Delaware, is there something closer?
yeah,
I mean,
and maybe they decide.
you know, so,
But at least there's not a holdup and they can,
right. Pledge of securities?
Pledge of securities for Farmers Security State Bank? Or Farmers Security Bank, excuse me.
Is this just for our information, or what?
I mean, it needs to be voted on. Approved.
I move that we approve the pledge of securities for Farmers Security Bank.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Well,
Hi.
yes. I see there's a application for streetlights here. I don't know if everybody else has that, but I'm not sure where that came from.
It needs to be approved, but the light's already been changed out. The light was, we're kind of at a stage with a lot of our streetlights that they can't be replaced. I mean, they can't be fixed, so they have to replace them. So because there's a small increase in the price, I believe, when they come in, Clay brings them in and then asks for them to be approved. Is there a place for you to sign on it?
Were those mainly on Second, or are those the ones we're talking about?
You know, I had asked the police department to do a light inventory, and I think we had, maybe you were gone. I think we had almost over a dozen lights that were out in town that have slowly been, between Weber and then also Otter Tail, they've been getting things fixed again, so.
Okay.
And it seems like some go off and on, I suppose they overheat.
Maybe, or
Either
maybe, and
that or
that's,
there's a light sensor maybe on or something, who knows?
I know the other day I drove down by Second, I think 3 out of the 4 were burnt out.
Well, this is on 2nd Avenue and 6th Street.
There you go. Yeah.
This is the first one I've seen of these. I mean, I don't know, do they bring these in all the time, or?
think you signed one last
What-
month.
Did we ever have some on
Yeah.
this?
Okay, from Otter Tail, this is the first one I think I've seen.
So we need to approve that?
I'll make a motion that we approve the bill for Otter Tail for the
Light
lights,
change, yeah.
light change.
Okay, you have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Well, yes. Tentative meeting dates.
Maybe we're gonna wait till next month. when
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Kit gets
suggest, waiting, yeah. You have to make sure Kit gets a copy of this, and, because I know his schedule has changed, you know, since we made the last one, so. Okay, we'll table that. Portfolios.
Nothing from me, I went through everything on the agenda.
Reese?
The library board is going to meet on November 28th at 6:30 PM in the library, just for information. The airport authority will meet 11/29 at 5:30 PM out at the airport. Public's welcome to come to those. And then the courthouse, the old courthouse, last meeting we had approved for those folks to go through at JLG Architecture and go with option number 1, which is a concept design of that building and how that looks. And so that's been signed and submitted. Hopefully this week they'll come back with a plan, but just wanted to let everyone know. Dug into the details even more on it. It's pro bono work for JLG architects to the tune of about $5,000 they'll have invested in that, so it's really a good thing that we went with that option to get some ideas on how we can use that building going forward. So just wanted to mention that. That's it.
Okay. Well,
I have nothing.
okay. I have a list of the used equipment sale that we had discussed last month. This is kind of what I put together. And basically, I have, goods will be accepted till December 8th at 4 o'clock. Any goods will be selected and confirmed at the city commission meeting on Monday, December 11th.
Now, is there anything else on sale besides what's in here?
Not this time.
Because there was a trailer.
Right, they decided they wanted to keep that.
Okay, well,
Yep.
okay.
And then, of course, the Unimog sweeper, that's not gonna be on here because that thing's worth, you know, like 50 or 60,000. So, so anyhow, what I was thinking was we could, you know, probably list this in, you know, the Leader News, the Extra, and maybe the Finder, you know, but obviously not with the pictures and everything, you know, maybe, I have a sample ad here. If you see that one, that page, you know, just saying, you know, bid to be accepted. Please visit the City of Washburn website or call the office for, you know, information.
Well, if that's the case, they could almost either look at this or take one of these.
Well, I don't think we're gonna print out a bunch of these, but, you know. I mean, unless we do black and white.
Yeah.
Color really eats up the printers. Doesn't it?
No,
It doesn't?
no.
No, you're kidding.
That was back in the 70s.
That's at home. Well, whatever works, so. And then if you want to put it on the website, I mean, this stuff's on here, Joan, that, you know, you can just download it off of there instead of, you know, copying this onto the website. Because I imagine we should, on the website, we should have the pictures and everything, so people can see it. If that works for everybody?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. How many weeks do you want to run the ad? Want to run it for like the next 3 weeks, or?
I mean, I don't think we need to run it for very long, just because if you look at these pages, besides that wood chipper,
Yeah,
we won't get the money back from those ads.
well, you know, but you know, we got the axles, those trailer axles, those are nice axles, you know, and wheels, we've got, who knows, you know. say for what, maybe a couple weeks, not this week, but the 2 weeks after that?
I would say no more than 2 weeks.
Okay,
2 weeks.
okay, that'll work. And how many papers do we want to run it in? Want to do in all 3 of those, or?
I only got the Leader News and the Finder. What other one did you have?
The extra.
Extra.
Yeah.
I think that would be okay. Huh? Okay,
3.
all right. So that works for everybody? Good. I talked with Eric briefly today. Sounds like that, work we had talked about on like the sidewalks and all that stuff probably be next year.
Oh, okay.
So, and also I was thinking that, since we have surveillance cameras, it wouldn't hurt to have a sticker on the doors saying that there is surveillance in the building. I think that would be a good thing to put on the doors.
Yep.
We have those coming.
You have them coming?
Mhm.
Okay. That's all I have.
And we're still not set up for the camera in here and the mic?
The cameras are on, is here going. The mic, they need a better one to capture the voice.
Okay, so eventually that'll be the plan. Okay.
The recording though is on all the time.
Yeah, but we'll be using that instead of, since we have it. Okay.
Joan, do you have anything? Cameras?
No? Okay. I thought I did, but I guess I just lost it. So.
Brian?
We had Roto-Rooter up here. Jim Stopler's sewer was full of tree roots. He was having them come up to camera it to see what the problem was. He ran their sewer line. He does have, right where it meets the main, or the extension off the main, where he saddles onto it, it had a couple of tree roots, but his line was basically clear. But now, once it gets in that bigger line, that 8-inch, his neighbor has got tree roots all grown out, and they had grown down into ours, out into the street and underneath.
The neighbor across the street, or?
No, the A-frame, the A-frame building there, right next.
Whose place is this house?
Jim Stopler.
Oh, Stopler, okay, I was thinking
Yeah.
Peters, okay, yeah, okay.
And that A-frame on the west end of town. So that the whole time that Jim has ever had problems backing up, it's always been his neighbor's willow tree that has grown down in there. Well, we knew we had some tree roots because we cambered it, but we never determined where they were coming from. Well, he said, as long as I'm here, you got tree roots in your thing, and you need to camera where this is coming from. So anyway, we had him camera it, and we had it jetted. He's got what they call a warthog, and so he cut all the tree roots out of that thing.
Out of the main?
Yep, he
Okay.
cut them all out. And then the thing is, though, he got back up to the neighbors, and where the neighbor comes, he can't turn a corner with that.
Right.
So it's like, this guy's gonna have to do something with his line, because they're growing.
So what you're saying is we need to contact the neighbor and
Yeah.
say, you need to fix your line.
Yeah, yeah, he's gonna have to dig it up. And it's really close to, there's a clean out there, it's only about 4 or 5 feet away from it. So that'll.
Is that by the A-frame up there?
Yep,
Okay. But, so we didn't change out the sewer in that when they did that road?
nope,
Hmm.
no, that part, that'll stay the same.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that's the result PVC anyway, so.
But with the tree roots growing in it,
Well, that's where a lot of these guys who came in and did the work, when they put a saddle on, they didn't band them right, and then the roots grow up and underneath them,
okay.
and then get in
Now,
line.
that sewer's on the other side of the street,
Yep, yep.
so,
Oh, we've got a stub off that comes across to that side.
do we want to, you said there's a clean out for that property?
Yep,
And what side of the street is that on?
it's on their side.
On the
It's-
north
It's in
side.
their boulevard, yep.
Did you try putting our camera down there and seeing,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, well, we can
and it's
see it.
full?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and he went in with this warthog. It was kind of like with Gedros's. He got up there and said,
Oh.
I can't. Well, they got that warthog, it needs 4,000 PSI, and it just rips the roots right out of there, and he cleaned it up to that point where the guy is coming into
Right,
to the main.
but we definitely don't want that stuff going through our system either, because it's a
Right, so
long
we have to
ways.
flush it, right, yeah. But
So-
anyway, that's what they did.
So, Mr. Water Sewer guy, you wanna get a hold of those people?
Yeah.
Or, you know, coordinate with Brian, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I can come too if you want, or whatever. So. Okay, anything else, Brian?
Nope, not, oh, the salt will be coming Thursday finally.
Oh, okay. All
I just remembered what I needed. For Thanksgiving holiday, the office will be closed that Thursday and Friday. The 20.
23, 24. Okay. Anything else, Brian?
I thought of it, but I forgot it again.
So long ago.
Yeah, really, like 5 seconds.
I think Adam had said something about signs, street signs or something, or
Oh, there's a lot of them that have never.
he's gonna put up, get a list and stuff, and